Hi you guys, this is Jamie with Whatever's Clever Boutique, and today we're going to do a 4th of July tutorial using some techniques that I don't use all that often. So we're going to start with a prepped 32-ounce plump from the Tipsy Magnolia. And as always, I'm going to go ahead and use my epoxy method to apply my glitter today. And today we're going to use Dash from KSRESIN Creations, and I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle that all over the tumbler. Now, some of you may have noticed this. When I glitter the bottoms, some people may not agree that this is the best way to do it. I love doing it this way. I go ahead and sprinkle the glitter on my parchment paper and then just press that base into the glitter. Now we're going to use some alcohol inks today, and here's kind of how I test what colors I want to use. And for this I determined Denim and Poppy Field from Holts. I basically just dropped them on a piece of paper to see what they're going to look like. So here we're taking our glittered tumbler, there is no epoxy on it, and we're just going to drop that alcohol ink directly onto the tumbler, and it's going to just get soaked up by the glitter and create this really cool effect. And today I'm kind of going for like a geode type effect. As you can kind of see here, I'm just going in that geode-ish shape, and I'm going to randomly lay the ink, but not so random in the sense that I'm going by color, but we're also going to be adding some foils in the next step. So I do leave open spaces for those. Now, I don't think I mentioned before, but my tumbler is cured here. So I applied that epoxy, then my glitter, let the tumbler cure, and then I went in with this alcohol ink step. Now, here's what we have so far, and you really want these to dry, like really, really dry. I think I let it sit for like 2 days so it didn't bleed, and then I went in with 2 coats of epoxy. And once that epoxy is cured, we're going to go in with our Wicked Stick It foil adhesive, and I'm just going to roughly paint. I made a little mistake here. I put it on the wrong line. Roughly paint on that adhesive to go ahead and then later apply our foils once that adhesive dries. Now, the inspiration for this tumbler came from this American decal from 311 Co. And this foil from Southern Belle Glitters matched perfectly with the leopard print lightning bolt on that decal. I don't know the name of this foil off the top of my head, so I'll go ahead and figure that out and list it and link it in the description box below. But this foil releases very good, as you'll see here in a second. So I actually kind of had to backtrack and do a little work to get the foil that released where it wasn't supposed to go, which wasn't hard because it wasn't adhered down. But here in a bit, I'll just end up using my chip brush and just brush that away. But for now, I just continue to lay that foil down over the adhesive that we laid earlier and just kind of keep going along before we get out our chip brush. As you can see here, once I get that chip brush going, it comes off super easy. It did make quite a mess. But, I mean, I think I would take a foil that releases very easily like this over one that does not release so easy and you're struggling to even get it on your tumbler. So it's a little bit of a toss-up here for me. Now we're going to go in with our Posca paint pens. Today I'm going to use white and black, and I go ahead and just press that tip down on the lid to get that ink up to the top. And I'm just going to sporadically go through and with a really rough hand just apply those lines so that they look like they're a little more uniform with the ink geode effect we created. Then we're going to go ahead and go in with one coat of epoxy. My favorite epoxy is KSRESIN Liquidy Split Ultra UV. I will have a discount code linked for you below. And now we're going to go ahead and go to Creative Fabrica to find some stars. I just took this standard star and imported it into my silhouette, created an outline, by outline I mean offset, and created a compound path to give me both an inside and an outside of the stars. I went ahead and printed those on Techcraft holographic vinyl. And I then took these little bleach spots from Mr. Nola's glitter, and I just went ahead and applied that to the bottom, to the spot where I'm gonna go ahead and lay my America decal, because I really wanted that decal to stand out. It is white backed, but I just wanted to be sure that you could really see it pop off of the tumbler. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start just, again, like the lines, sporadically adding these stars throughout the tumbler wherever I see they fit best. I printed both the gray holographic and the silver holographic. I ended up only using the dark gray one. I just felt like it went a little bit better with the design, but you can use whatever color you would like. Anything really would look good, but I just stuck with the one color for this tumbler. Now you want there to be a glossy surface before you apply that white back decal. So I went in with another coat of epoxy just to seal in that vinyl, put a coat of epoxy over that white bleach spot, and then we're gonna go ahead and create our 4th of July glitter shaker booty. We're gonna go ahead and use President from Peachy Olive Glitters for the glitter for our little outer rim. And this glitter mix is so pretty. It's got some chunky blues, reds, and even some holographic stars. So we're gonna mix that with our UV resin and then just very carefully put it in that little outer rim. Then we're gonna go ahead and hit that with our lighter and go ahead and cure that. Then I'm gonna go ahead and paint that center black. I initially was gonna do a white glitter, shifted mid-tumbler design, of course, in true Jamie fashion, and decided that I wanted to do a black base here to really make my snow globe that we're gonna put in the center of this pop, a little more dramatically than it would on a white background. So I did 2 coats of the black paint, and then we're gonna take a little bit of Expo and a little bit of UV resin. All we're doing here is creating enough to cover that base of that center spot so that it's sparkly. So we're not trying to fill this whole void, we're just spreading this around enough to where it covers that base paint. Then we're gonna go in with our lighter again and cure that. Once that's cured, we're gonna take our acetate sheet, and I went ahead and stuck the sheet over top of my tumbler, drew a circle with a paint pen, cut it out, and then I took my hole punch and punched a little hole in that acetate sheet. Now, had I been thinking, I would have put my shape glitter in the tumbler or in the center before I put this down. I didn't, so I have to then put it through this little hole that we created, which was supposed to be for the liquid, but that's here nor there, it worked. So I'm taking this Glory shape glitter from KSRESIN Creations, and you'll see me struggle trying to get them in the holes. Took a little bit of time, but I got it eventually. Again, do that before you put that acetate sheet down with the UV resin and cure it into place. Once we get all of those shapes in, I'm gonna take this fancy little dispenser that I got from Amazon, and I'll go ahead and link it below. And I take a mixture of 1 part clear Elmer's glue to 3 parts distilled water. Now I just stick that little tip right in that hole and try and fill with as much liquid as I can. It gets a little bit tricky. I mean, you start to have some liquid flowing back out. Just clean that up with a paper towel. Kind of move that air bubble on the inside to where you can stick a little more liquid in there. It's just kind of a process, if you will. It takes a bit of time. Once you get it to your liking, you're going to take another little piece of acetate and put a little UV resin around that hole, put that little square down, and go ahead and cure that into place so that our liquid will not come out. Once that's cured, we're going to go back in throughout the entire booty of the tumbler with another layer of UV resin. Don't forget to pop those bubbles with your lighter. And I just kind of spread it out to make sure that it was fully, because I didn't want to do a super heavy coat here. So I spread it out to make sure that it was fully covering the base, and then went ahead and cured that. We're going to do a couple more coats of epoxy on this one, so I didn't want a super heavy coat of UV on the bottom. But look at that booty. Oh, I love it. These bring me so much joy. I'm so obsessed with these Tipsy Magnolia tumblers. Glitter booties give me life. I love them. Now we're gonna go ahead and add that decal. And I ended up having to stand the tumbler up for this one to make sure that it was completely straight because I had so much going on the tumbler. It was really messing with my vision in determining that it was straight. So I ended up standing it upright and kind of lining it up with the straightness of my table to determine that it was straight. for this coat of epoxy, we are going to take some of that same glitter, President or Mr. President from Peach Yellow Glitters that we used on that glitter booty, and we're going to kind of just sporadically put that into one of the top coats of the tumbler here. So I'm going to put a thin layer of epoxy on the tumbler. And then I'm going to go ahead and mix that Mr. President up with the remaining epoxy in my cup. And then I'm just going to go ahead and take a gloved finger and just kind of put it all over the tumbler wherever I see fit. When laying this down, I did try to avoid the stars and the decal. I just kind of put it in the geode sections, and I really love how it turned out. Don't forget to pop all those air bubbles with your torch. And then I went in with a coat of epoxy, did my final sanding, and then another final coat of epoxy. And this tumbler turned out so good. I know I'm a little bit late on a 4th of July tutorial, but I absolutely love how this turned out. I hope you guys loved it. I hope you enjoyed watching along. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I will have everything that I used listed and linked down in the description box below, as well as a bunch of discount codes for you. Thank you guys so much for following along with me and coming back week after week to support me in this amazing journey. Tumbler making is my joy. I absolutely love creating and being able to offer these up to you guys to purchase, to carry around these gorgeous tumblers. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys again next week.